Hello, hello. How
Hello,
are you?
hello. I'm good. I'm good. Good to see you.
I know. So let's start off by telling these wonderful people why you joined the military.
I don't know. Why did I join the military? So, I'm from Chicago, and after high school, I did a whole bunch of random stuff. So
Yep.
I got a job at a billing department of a hospital, and then I was like, okay, you know what? I'm gonna try to work for the church. So I started working for the church, and then that didn't work out, and I just kind of bounced around. I had a friend, Sam, who had joined the military, and I didn't want him to go. But after a couple of years, I saw he was doing well, and I was like, you know what? Let me try this military thing and get away from Chicago because all of my friends was involved in, street stuff, and I was like, okay, let me try something else.
Yeah.
So I initially went in like trying it out, and I was like, well, I'm gonna just give 4 years. Yeah,
Yeah. So for you, well, we met at Scott. What base was that for you? Because that was
that was my
my
second base.
no, that was my third base. Yeah. So that
Okay.
was my third base. And then we
Well, we
deployed.
first met. No, no, no. We first met in Germany because you were in Simbach and I was at Ramstein.
Oh yeah, 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 yeah.
Like I didn't really know you. We had did
Yes.
like a tour, and
Yes.
I was like,
Yes.
look at
Yes.
that
Yes.
little light skinned girl.
I know. Yes. So yes, but then we deployed together and we
Yes.
went to training together. Well, for me, I volunteered for that deployment. And they say be careful what you volunteer for, right? But in
Yeah.
the end, I mean, we had some good, some bad, some great, some sad, but it was for me the time we had together, what us going when I flew to visit you when it was like it
Yes.
doing big things because in logistics, we one team, one fight. Like we come,
Yeah.
we take care of each other.
We legit just did our own thing during that whole deployment. Remember during training, they gonna tell us that we had to eat some MREs, so we had food delivered
Yes,
to.
yes, yes. We was like, we need y'all to go get us some food because ain't nobody eating these MREs. We are too far in life to be eating these MREs. Listen, I remember clearly when that
Oh
man
my
told me
god.
to dig my head in the ground and low crawl underneath that barbed wire. I was like, I'm not low crawling in this dirt. Like it's sad. Who was here last? Is this? I mean, let me just be a little bit bougie. What y'all do in this sand before we got here? Because this ain't gonna work for me.
You're like, this is not the business.
Oh my yes. And then we got to Bagram, right? Was it Bagram? I don't even know. We were sitting in those big old tents. Was it
Yeah.
Bagram?
No, no, no. This was we were in Africa, Iraq.
Oh my God. When we stayed in them 100 people tent, and I was like, who does this? They were like, oh, the
Yeah.
army do it all the time.
Yeah,
I'm
no.
gonna need y'all
I
to
think
give
it was
me a
Ali Salim before we went to Iraq.
yes,
That's where we're in
yes,
Tent City.
yes. I was like,
Yeah.
what are we doing here? Like we
I was like, I thought we joined the Air Force.
yes, we just so tell them why because I mean, let's talk about where you at in your career right now. Like how long have you been in?
18 years.
And what have we just achieved in our career? I mean, let's talk about
Won't he
that.
do it?
Accomplishment, the highest, the top, tippy top.
Yeah, that's
I mean,
crazy. It's still unreal. So let me say this first. So I still go to the virtual MPF
yeah.
and hit refresh to make sure
To
that the
make sure
line number
they
is really there. I was like, you
like,
sure?
hold on. Is it so did they take it away yet, right? They didn't say,
They're
okay,
like,
we
okay,
good.
okay, we still there. We still there.
Yeah,
Yeah, so
so
we just
tell
made Chief.
yes, yes.
Yeah,
He is
yeah,
a
God is good.
master sergeant of the Air Force. Yes.
When I'm not up there
Yes.
for it.
Okay. I mean, we're gonna just speak that one into existence because your greatness, your
Shout out to
great.
Chief Bass.
Hey, I mean, I'm just saying the new one just came in. She's a female. We just need to go ahead and slip in another black chief. We good. Make some changes for the world, for the people.
Oh my God.
But
Yeah, shout out to Chief Wright.
I know, right?
Big shoes.
Tell me why you stay. What make you
You know what?
stay?
It changes. It changes every year and it changes every assignment.
Okay.
So early on, it was all like selfish
Yeah.
reasons. I was like, well, let me see what this base do. Let me see, you know what I'm saying? Um, and as I went on, it shifted from me to, what can I do for other people?
Mhm.
Because like I've had some really, really bad experiences, just like everyone else.
Yep.
And there, sometimes your supervisor can make you feel uh, less than or not valued.
Yeah.
So I took those experiences and I was like, okay, how can I make sure that nobody else feels like I felt in that moment?
Yes.
So now, like my reason, my why is less about me and more about people and the team.
Yes.
And Scott was a really tough assignment for me. So like my first base was Ramstein. I
Okay.
had a blast.
Yep.
Um, there was a couple things. My first deployment was Abu Ghraib prison, and that was my first time. Like I was like, okay, so the Air Force really do be fighting, okay? Because I thought that we was like way in the back somewhere.
We just stand in the back and then let y'all do what y'all do, and then
It was
we
like non-player.
yep.
We need you in the front. So, but I got into a lot of trouble at Scott, which is my second base,
Okay.
and just making airman decisions.
Yeah.
Um, wasn't the best airman, but didn't really understand the the process.
Yeah.
And I think in those moments, like I realize now that people were just doing the best that they can,
Yeah.
and they were just trying. And just like at every other rank that I've been at, people expect you to know, and you don't, and you just do the best that you can. But it doesn't translate like that in the moment.
Yes.
So, as I grew up, as I started getting real solid mentors that kind of broke down things for me, like, okay, yeah, you from Chicago, but you can't say whatever comes to your mind.
You can't speak
You
to
gotta,
people like that, sir. You can't speak to people like that. But like keep it to yourself. Think it in your head and just say yes,
uh,
sir, yes, ma'am, and move on.
yeah,
That's what you got. I mean, it's different for everybody. You know, even
yeah,
me. It's like when I deployed on our deployment. I mean, we had the Army lieutenant and that Army, what was he, lieutenant colonel. They thought they
Lieutenant
could talk
Colonel.
anyway. You know what? At this point,
Oh,
that's how y'all talk to your people. But I'm a person, and
different.
everybody. I mean, I remember it very clearly. He was so mad because he didn't get his way. And I was like, who are you talking to? He was like, I'm talking to you. I said, I absolutely are not, because my mama don't even talk to me like you talking to me. Like, I lost your mind. And I'm like, I'm a person too. You don't get to talk to me like that. And that's the difference between the cultures, right? Because
Yeah,
Reginald says that that's how the army talks to their people, and it's okay. And I'm like, it is not though. Like, we're still people, and I'm not. Not everybody is like that in the army, but that's their culture, and that's what they allow themselves to be put in that place. Like, yeah, they get treated like children.
yeah.
They're watched every second of the day. I mean, when me and Reginald met, they was having 3, 4, 5 formations. What are y'all doing? Like, what y'all talking about so
Like, can you
long?
just send me an email?
Like, I'm gonna read it when I come to work. And they come, they going to PT, they having a formation, they doing this. I'm like, can you just y'all couldn't say what y'all had to say in the first formation, that y'all had to come back after y'all was done with PT. But it's like the difference. And for me, if I had to change it over, I wouldn't change joining the Air Force, because it taught me. Like, when I first came in, I was just like, you ain't gonna speak to me like that. Like, not today, ma'am. No, not today.
Hmm.
Now it's like it taught me how to, it's like it's a time and a place to where your response is not always needed. You don't have to always snap back at
Yeah,
somebody. Like, it's like,
absolutely.
we all in growing up, it's like, oh, what you said to me, like, what,
Yeah,
like, let's take the street out of the situation and just
yeah,
be right. So
yeah.
for you, how many deployments did you actually go on?
Um, four,
Oh,
four no kidding deployments.
okay.
I think 1, 2, 3, 4. Yes.
So which
Um, I went to Iraq 2 times.
okay.
I went to Saudi Arabia,
Okay.
in Africa.
Were they all 6-month deployments, or did they vary?
Yeah, all a minimum of 6 months.
Okay.
I don't. Yeah, maybe a little bit more,
Okay.
but 6 months ish.
I know because ours was 6 months, but then our training was actually made it even longer. So we were gone
Yeah.
for so long. But
Yes.
for me, do you feel as though there's something you have that you can advice that you would give somebody as far as not how you got to where you are, right? But something that you wanted to know. Like when you first came in, what did you want to know when you came in? Like that somebody should have told you now.
So like, I didn't know anything for real about the military when I first joined.
Yeah.
So like even basic training, I all I know is people with hats came on the bus and started screaming at me, and I raised my hand. I was that kid in basic training, and they're like, "Yo, why are you raising your hand?" I'm like,
Funny.
obviously I joined the wrong. I got on the wrong bus because
Yes.
I'm not one of like I volunteered to come here. Can I rejoin? Hey, I'm sorry.
Oh,
Hey, how you doing?
I was gonna be in the room, right? Look, you say hi.
Hey. Oh my God, I see so many pictures of you.
I know. So that's the same thing for me. You have to go. That's the same thing for me. When I joined, they let us get off the bus. They let us
Yeah.
get off the bus, and they were like, rah, 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 rah. I was like, this is the wrong place. Nobody told me enough, enough, enough. Nobody told me about this. Like, why are people talking? Why are you yelling?
Yes. Because
Stop.
when we grew up, we had like Sally, Jesse, Raphael. So if you were bad, you get sent to boot camp. So I literally asked to rejoin like my right crew because this obviously can't be where what I signed up for.
Yes.
So I was just a blank slate. But your question was, what would I tell people? What would I wanted to know? I think that I would have wanted to understand the process sooner
Yes.
because it took me a
Yes.
very, very long time to get one mentor, let alone a team of mentors. You
Yes.
know what I'm saying? So that's one thing. And I think people have it twisted when they think that the mentor's
Oh my.
responsibility is um, to get you to the next rank because it's not about the next rank. The
Yes.
mentor's responsibility is to help set the right conditions for success
Yes.
and help you think critically so that you can carve out your space and learn whatever lessons you're supposed to learn in the moment.
Yes.
And it's the mentee's responsibility to get that information. If you got something that I need to get to the next level, or you've already been there, like, why am I sitting back looking at my watch, waiting for you to come all the way over here? You got
Yes.
something I want. I'm
Yes.
gonna go wherever you are. I'm gonna show up with Starbucks, and I'm gonna
Yep.
get whatever you have. It's my job to be proactive in the situation.
But see, that's the problem. A lot of people aren't proactive. It's like they expect you to make them happy. They expect you to be like, you know what, this is what you need to do to be happy. But not everybody's a mind reader. And it goes back to our expectations of people is what makes us fail because
Yeah.
we expect people to do things in the way we like. I expect you to come talk to me and tell me what I should do. Like,
Hmm.
or if I do something wrong, be like, hey, tell me what I did wrong in a nice way so I can, my feelings because
Yeah.
you yelled at me because I didn't do what I was supposed to do. And
Yeah.
this new military, all these new changes, it's like y'all want to be babies, but you
Yeah.
want to be a
But
part
you
of
want
the
to be
United.
treated.
Yes, you
Yeah.
want to be treated like this is not how we're supposed to do it. This is we have to do this nicely. You shouldn't talk to people like that. But then it's like you never think about what it is you're expecting from somebody that you
Hmm.
ain't supposed to do for yourself,
Yeah.
right? So
Absolutely.
it's always what people always base their decisions and their life things off of what they expect everybody to do for them instead of
Oh.
somebody just doing it, right? Just
Yeah.
he'd be all right. So, well, is
You're so professional. I'm over here like distracted
we
by
gonna move
everything.
on? Like you know what I'm doing. You know what is going down. Get
Yeah,
your life. So
absolutely.
he can come in, he can come sit, he can come chat, but we're gonna do what we do, and then when I'm done, then we can talk. But
Yeah.
um, what is it that the military is giving you that you feel as though you couldn't get outside?
Um, Initially structure,
Okay.
structure and investment, because growing up in the jobs that I tried before, I would do
Yeah.
something for a little bit and be like, yeah, I don't feel like doing that no more, and then just kind of bounce around. Um, but I feel like I grew up in the military. So like some people go away to school, go away to college, get the dorm life. Like the military was all of that for me.
Yes.
So like I
Yes.
grew up at Ramstein and Scott and
Yes.
figured out who I was. You know what I'm saying?
Yes. I know, because when I was stationed in Montana, I was in a dorms, and when I was in the dorms, it was like I shared a room with this girl. She wasn't really like, I don't know if I would say she was clean, right? Like we shared the room, we shared the bathroom, like normal. And then I got off base. I said 1 minute. I said 1 minute. I got off base, and it was like everything, it was great when we moved off base, but living in the dorms, it's like you're locked down and you're subjected to somebody else telling you, okay, that ain't how you're supposed to have your room cleaned, right? This is not how you're supposed to be doing this. You need to do it like this.
So you had a roommate
So
in the dorm?
when I was stationed in, not actually in the room, we shared that bathroom together. So I don't
Okay.
know if when Scott, this was the back in the day, because when
Yeah.
I came in, we were in the dorms where they didn't have a kitchen. Because I know the new dorms, they have the kitchens, they have the bathroom you share, and you don't. For me, we didn't have the kitchen. We had a big mass kitchen. I mean, like on the deployments, you probably seen it, right? So you had
Yeah.
when you walked into the room, it was two rooms, but you connected by the bathroom. So my
Uh-huh.
door to my bathroom locked. So she locked it from the opposite of the double door, just like what basic, right? Tech school.
Yeah. Take
It was
school,
like,
yeah.
yeah, but it was only one person in a room. And then once I got to a certain, I don't know why I moved off base. I don't
Senior probably, yeah.
but something. I moved off base and I got an apartment.
Oh yeah.
But it was just like the dorms was I don't know. Like for me, I was like, I don't know about this. Like we did it in basic. Like even in basic, I was like, we shower together? Like
Yeah.
in a in a whole, like we doing this. This is what we doing. They're like, yeah, this you shop. I mean, if you ain't gonna shower, then at this point, it's on you. It's on
Yeah.
you. But it was all like a shock to me because, like you, nobody. I have family in the military, but nobody. I didn't talk to them and say, hey,
Mm,
what should I expect? And none of them were in the Air Force, so it's like
yeah.
they can tell me their experience, but they ain't gonna have nothing to do. But knowing what you're in for, like the group showers. I mean, the bathrooms got doors on them, right? But
Yeah.
that's about it. It's like and then everybody. It's like you have to be a family and you have to help each other because the opportunities that you get, the things that you do, it's about the team that you join because everything, and that's the problem with the new Air Force. When I first joined, everybody was like, yeah, let's team, hey, what do you need? What do you need? What do you need? Now everybody like, I'm studying. I'll make
Yeah. But you know what? Like my thing is it's our job to create that environment, right?
yes.
So I know that's people's perception of the Air Force, but that's been my experience at every base that I've been. You know what I'm saying? Because like I lean forward and do what I can to try to create it. You know what I'm
Yeah.
saying?
You
Like it
are
doesn't have to be.
you're a connector. That's what you are. Like, what we gonna do together? I'm like, wait, what?
Yeah,
Together? We done came in here. I mean, half of them left. They don't want to do nothing. Like, but
yeah,
you're that connector, and that's for me. That's your reason for continuing to stay in, right? Because you want people to be connected. You don't
yeah,
want this segregation that it continues to have. The military is all of, like, no. Not every base is like that. Not everybody's for self. That's not what I'm. I'm not
yeah,
saying
yeah,
that.
yeah, yeah, yeah. Of course, of course.
The main. It's like the people you come around. They're like, oh, what you need help with, like.
Yeah.
Oh, I mean, I could look into that, but for me, I'm gonna get. If you're not gonna help me, I'm gonna get it on my own, and that's the
You
mentality. A
sure,
lot.
Liz. You always been like that.
We, I'm, you don't want to have the answer for me. I'm gonna go look for it and I'm gonna find somebody else that can, but that's where the mentality needs to be. Like, don't sit there waiting for
Yeah.
somebody to give you
To spoon
something.
feed.
Yes, because no, that's your expectation of somebody. Like, but like, how was your base? Nobody cared about me. Like, they didn't ask me how I was doing. I'm like, do you think that's people's job to say, how are you doing? If you feel like you need help, like, say, I need help. Stop
Yeah.
expecting people to
Yeah.
say, let me just move this for you. Let me just do this for you.
Yeah.
And then have an amazing life, right?
Yeah. Yeah.
Do you?
What type of energy are you putting out?
Yes. And that's the
Yeah.
biggest thing. Like, I wish somebody would have taught me then what I know now.
Yes.
It's like the energy you bring, it plays a huge part in what goes down in the
Mm-hmm.
end, right? Because
Yes.
you can come in every day, oh, I hate this place. Okay. But what you hating about it? You're getting a paycheck on the first and the
Yeah.
15th. You
Yeah.
do you have to do just a specific job. Like, you ain't out there. I mean, back in the day they was out there digging their own toilets to use the bathroom, right? I mean, we got the connexes, we got the air conditioned connexes, like we got pools on every deployment, we got a gym. They make
Yeah.
sure your mental is together, but you
Yeah.
complaining about
Yeah.
what? That's the question. It's like everybody wants to complain, but what are you truly complaining about? Because is it really that hard? Is it really that
Yeah.
bad? I mean,
Yeah.
you can create what you want. Like, come into
Yeah.
work and be like, you know what? Let's do this. What we're doing today, like, what
Yeah.
what can we accomplish? And everybody feels like, okay, we can't go home till we finish this. No, we really could though, because that work gonna be there tomorrow. That's
Yeah.
that thing that we're doing gonna be there tomorrow. Is anybody gonna die if we don't do this right
Mm-hmm.
now? But change your mentality when you go to work, and it's like, hey, this is
Yeah.
I don't have to love this place, but
Yeah.
this is what is going to help me get to my next step. The learning I
Yeah.
can get from the people around me, because regardless, a lot of people look at other, like, oh, you just an airman, but you don't know what that airman knows to be
Mm-hmm.
just an airman. I mean, half the bases I was at, all the airmen did all the work, and the NCO just sat around doing the airmen just, I mean, at this point, you got to figure out your life and what you want to
Yeah.
do. If you sit there and expect people to give you something, what are you truly putting into yourself? That's what you have to ask.
Absolutely.
So is there
Absolutely.
anything
What are you doing to the environment? What type of energy are you putting out
else?
for you to hate this place? Like, if you set the right intentions and you address stuff and build
Yes,
the network, then you're gonna have
yes.
a great time wherever you are. We had a blast in Iraq.
I'm in Iraq, people. It a blast. And when I tell you, we got on a helicopter, went to one base, went to the next. I mean, they were like, "What y'all want? We need to go get some supplies." Like,
Almost got kidnapped.
I know. It's like, what we have to go here. We need to go do this. Like, it's all about what you make it. I mean, like, everybody's
Yeah.
base was different. We went in twos. I mean, it was just
Yeah.
it was fun because we didn't say, oh my God, now we have to be here. I mean, training though, it was.
Yeah, training was a whole different situation.
I'm gonna need the army. That's what I need. I'm gonna need the army to get it together because we trained in the worst environments, and that was in 2009. Like,
Yeah.
technology has come so far now. Y'all don't gotta be living like that. Like, y'all don't. Y'all still bathing outside, like, for real. So,
Yeah.
but if you want to share that you feel as though somebody needs to know, it doesn't have to be a military. It just has to be whatever you feeling on your heart to share.
Um, I don't know. I feel like we talked about so much. Um, I mean, the big thing is intentions, right?
Yeah.
And set the right intentions. Showing up in whatever space you're in, be it the military, be it a civilian space, with a good attitude that can go a long way. Um, I've learned to plan and organize my life. Um, don't just if you're gonna be competitive for an award, or if you have a goal, don't lose sight of that goal. So things that you put in place should all kind of line up. And if it's outside, it's not going to get you towards that ultimate goal.
Yeah.
Then kind of reevaluate it.
Yes.
Don't forget who you are. So you can get polished and you can get clean and you can learn the right way to communicate a message, but don't forget who you are or what it was like to be that airman or
Yes,
that entry level employee or that first class. If we're talking about the Navy, like don't forget where you come from because your experiences can kind of help shape the environment for other people.
100%.
Yeah, I'm trying to think what else.
When it
You would
came, you
think
know
that I
what?
would be prepared.
Hey, the one question I want to ask you, like it just popped in my head. When it
Okay.
comes to testing and making rank, what
Mhm.
what did you do?
Okay, so things have changed so much, right? So as far as testing, um, I I studied. I studied. I didn't skim. I didn't like. I literally studied, and I'm slow, and I have ADHD, and it
Okay.
wasn't diagnosed until like later on in my career, but I just
Yeah.
didn't know it.
Yeah.
So
Yeah.
I would listen to the PDG while
Yep.
I read
Yep.
and make notes, but I would do it consistently and on a schedule, and I would literally take off 2 weeks prior to when I'm supposed to test,
Okay.
and my entire job was to study.
Oh.
So for 10 or more hours during that period of time, I would leave my house, go to the library or Starbucks or wherever, and I would just study for 50 minutes, take a 10-minute break, study for 50 minutes, take a 10-minute break.
Okay.
Um, I think that people, what else? The PDG advisor,
Yep.
or all of those are really good, but I use that to test my comprehension skills. I didn't
Ah.
use that to study.
Yeah.
I
Yeah.
just took it serious. I think a lot of times, people who don't score well just don't really understand that study technique. You got to take it serious. It's got to be like, okay, this is the most important thing for this period of time.
Yes.
Beyond, I think tech sergeants is the last one that you have to study for now
Okay.
because everything is just boards. Um, Learn how to write, understand how to write, understand what the Air Force wants you your bullets. Like we have great airmen, and we're all doing incredible things. But if you don't know how to put it to paper, then it doesn't exist. It's not a
Yes.
matter of record. So, really, I encourage everybody to develop those writing skills, and you have to do it by doing it.
Yeah.
Pulling people in. I will never forget Mo. Our boy Mo was the first person who looked at my records and was just like, "Oh yeah, you mediocre or you're average," is what he said. And I was just like, "What the hell? I'm average."
I am not average, sir. No, I'm not.
I'm extraordinary. So he was the first one to give me that honest feedback
Yeah.
and kind of broke down like this is why, and that really got me into learning how to write, helping
Yep.
other people write packages because I didn't have a whole lot of troops at the time, but
Yeah.
really understand um, how to create, how to put the great things that you're doing to paper.
Yes. I mean, that is, I mean, even the funny thing is, people need to understand that every base, the commander is the person that, what they're, how they like to see things, but it doesn't take away from you learning how to do it.
Hmm.
So everybody
Yeah.
changes, but you still have to learn how to write your own bullet because when somebody comes to you and be like, okay, you need to write your EPR. Wait, what? I remember the first time I'm like, wait, what? Right. Like, but you my supervisor. They were like, yeah, but you gotta send me the bullets of what you're doing, like what you got
Hmm.
going on. And it wasn't until I worked outside of outside of a supply squadron is when it's like, yeah, send me your bullets. Send you who? To what? What you want? Like it's like, you gotta be
Yeah.
prepared for if you like volunteering to be at a base that is not it's outside of your squadron, outside of your normal
Hmm.
job. You gotta remember that
Yes.
you need to keep track of you.
Yes.
Like you can't just be like, I ordered something. Okay. What did you order? How much money was
Right.
it? What did it
Yes.
for the whole Air Force? Because don't nobody care that you ordered nothing if you ain't did something and they don't got a
And
big number.
who's better to tell a story about what you did than you?
Hey, nobody can say, hey, yeah, I ordered a part. Well, how much was the part? How
Yeah.
much did you spend? Because I mean, we spend other people's money, right? We
Yeah.
spend the Air Force money, and you talking about I ordered a part, but that part was $50 million. Like we don't. Our job is never like little itty bitty things. It's like $1 million parts, and you just like, oh
Yeah.
yeah, I ordered this, and I ordered this. One thing I did learn is like, start saving your stuff. You did something,
Yes.
type it up, and then
Yes.
start creating what you've done. Right? Say,
Yeah.
figure
Keep
out, take
track.
bullets from somebody else, and be like, this. I mean, people will always criticize your bullets. It's like you're not gonna be perfect for
Mm,
nobody because they're gonna be like,
yeah.
who wrote this? Like,
Yeah.
what?
True.
But
I could write something and then look at it a week later, like, what the hell was I
like,
thinking?
who said that? Like, you ordered what? Like, okay, just look, just ignore that. Don't even look at that. Don't even look at that.
Yeah.
But yes, being accountable for self is what it all
Yeah.
boils down to. We got to
Absolutely.
know what we're going to do and what we want because I I was talking to Melissa last week and she said that when she went into the military, she had she
Yeah.
knew what she wanted, like a checklist, like check,
Yeah.
check, 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 check. Let the military give you what, and that's what it is. Like I went in, I said I want a degree. I came out with my degrees, but
Mm-hmm.
it didn't go how I planned it. But sometimes
Mm-hmm.
everything doesn't go how you plan. But when you
Yeah.
start being intentional about what you want, like nowadays, now that intentions is taught more, it's like now be
Mm-hmm.
more aware of you and what you want out of what you're doing instead of being just being. Because
Yeah.
I show up to work every day and just do a job, but then when you're done with this military, what are you going to do? Like, if you don't plan on
Absolutely.
being in it for 20 years, what is your life plan? What do you want? Like, start soul searching of what your true
Yeah.
passion is, right? Because you can do a job, but I did a job for 20 years. I don't do nothing like that now. So it's like you search out what truly
Yeah.
makes your heart sing and what you feel blessed to do because God gives all of us a
Yeah.
purpose in life and we choose to do what's easier instead of
Mm-hmm.
truly looking for what it is that makes us happy because when I first when we were stationed in Simbach, I mean, I remember us be coming to work. We'd be like, oh my God, like we gotta order these parts. And then one day I just told them, I'm like, y'all, what are we really mad about? Like, we sitting here joking around, laughing at each other. One person wanted
Yeah.
to go to lunch, dinner, whatever it is at that time of day. And we was working swings. It wasn't nobody
Yeah.
there. We would
Uh-huh.
just no supervision. No, I mean nobody, and it was just us. Like if you got up and left, not nobody on that circle of team was going to tell on you. It's like, all right, well, you got your stuff, you'll do your stuff. You got to go take care of stuff. Go take care of what you got to take care of, and it was good. It's like we truly have a blessing in disguise, and people just
Yeah.
take that opportunity to complain about it instead of using that blessing and taking themselves to the next level.
Yeah.
But
Yeah.
yeah,
Absolutely. Absolutely. And then another thing is when people are so hyper focused on the next step that you miss the moment. That
yes,
was one thing that I learned later on because I was just like, okay, I got to do this, I got to do this, and then like I miss all of the lessons learned, all of the experiences, and
yes,
next thing you know, I'm at a whole nother base. And just like, what happened? And
yes,
so to slow down and make sure that we're learning the lessons, we're developing. I tell my guys all the time, like, don't just do stuff for a bullet.
yes,
Understand why. So I only volunteer for stuff that I care about.
yes,
Um, Professional organizations, yeah, it's a good bullet, but why do the Air Force care
yes,
about you doing that? Because it takes something different to lead people who don't have to follow you. And
yes,
so in your job, you're that guy. You're the NCOIC or the superintendent or second chief. Um, when you're talking about a whole bunch of people from all over the base, they don't have to follow you.
they
So
don't.
how do you figure out how to motivate them? Like at everything that the military values, there's a lesson behind it. But if you're
Yes,
rushing through it to check a block, then you're gonna miss that. And that's a very vital step in your development.
yes, very, very vital. So, is there anything else you want to share before we close out?
I just appreciate this opportunity. Happy Mother's Day.
Thank
I,
you.
I should have said that early on. I don't know. I'm a firm believer, regardless of what space you're in, Air Force, Army, Navy, Marine, Coast Guard, civilian. You can really accomplish whatever you set your mind to. You
Yes.
really can. Um, you just have to, one, believe in yourself, and two, be willing to work for it.
Yes.
So I want to make sure to kind of plant that seed. Yes, you can. You can be whatever. Um, I take it back to the Bible days. The Bible say, Habakkuk 2:2, write the vision, make it plain.
Yes.
Sit down and map out your strategy.
Yes.
Um, People always say get a mentor. I say get a team of mentors because
Yes.
everybody have a different perspective. And I would literally not be here if I hadn't had my circle or my board of directors, so that I can learn from their experiences and not make the same mistakes. Um, but just success is a mindset. Create the culture that you want to live in.
Yes.
Let's not romanticize back in the day. Oh, back in the day. No, 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 no. What are we gonna do right now?
Right now, today, like what are
Be
we
the
doing right
change.
now? We have so much opportunity. Like, and what makes it bad is it's so much room for everybody to grow. Everybody has an opportunity to grow.
Yes,
It's just
yes,
stop looking at the fact that just because so and so made it before you, so and so did it before you, it don't matter. If you need that person's help, say, hey, you know what?
yes.
I've been looking at what you've been doing. That's what I want to do. I'm not trying to copy you, but I look up
Yeah,
to you and I would love some advice.
yeah. Yes, absolutely. You have to do it because it's not a competition. It's
No,
not a competition. It's
nope,
not a race. The only
nope.
competition is within yourself
Yes,
because your job is to develop into the best possible, airman or situation that you can
yes,
internally. It has nothing to do with the people around you. But
not
yes, if you see someone, reach out to them. Hey, review my records. I would
yes.
never tell anybody no. Even if I didn't really like you back in the day, I'm still gonna look at your stuff.
I know. I'm like, sure. Okay, what's you need to get your life all the way together and fix this right now.
Yeah, give you that honest feedback because I wouldn't be here if people like Mo wouldn't have told me, yeah, you average,
Yeah, I know. Like you
and
thought
broke
you
down
were
exactly
in
why.
the Air Force, you're not really doing nothing. I mean, you think you're doing something big because people don't build
Yeah,
your head up to think you're great, but sir, you need to sit down and think about this. Get it
yeah. Like when somebody look at your records and go, yeah,
together.
like,
What do you want
oh my
to
gosh,
do?
like you sure you want to be in here?
What are you trying to do? Yes, yes,
Yeah, but good advice. Definitely good advice.
yes. Well, thank you for sharing this space with me.
Of
The
course.
next
Thank you for creating the space.
My next segment is mental health, and the next one is going to be I want to do it as a group series, so have several conversations going at once, so people can be
Okay.
aware what like me going through what I went through, you going through what you went through, may help somebody else get
Absolutely.
get out of their head, because that's what we are. We all
Yeah.
get into our own head, and then
Mm-hmm.
nobody like a therapist can tell you, this is what you did, this is what you did, but having somebody else say, you know what, I was right there with you, and this is what I did to
Yeah.
do what I need to do. So, but
Yeah.
that's what's gonna happen next,
And
and
it,
that's
it helps remove the stigma associated with it. Because,
that.
everybody is always afraid. And that's why I talk about my mental health like openly because it
Right?
can help someone else.
Because people
Absolutely.
don't need to struggle in silence. That's what I really
Yep.
feel like. People struggle in silence, and then they don't know. They wait till it's too much for them, and then they shut down and they get away from the world. But they forget that world could help them in some way,
Yeah.
not feel a specific way. So, but yeah.
Absolutely.
So I
Good
will
deal.
chat with you later.
I'm looking forward to it. Kiss the family for me, okay?
Okay.
All right.
All right. Bye bye.
Bye bye.